Hello everyone, and welcome back to my channel, and welcome to the new visitors as well. Now, a few videos ago I showed you a great technique on how to design a hull for a yacht or a boat, and many of you actually comment on this video and they really enjoy watching it and it helps them. So and some of you actually also ask me if I can continue and create a part 2 and maybe finish the design. But I searched to figure out how to finish actually this design, and I figured out there are way too many options, and I'm not a really boat designer and engineer, so that's going to be really ambitious for me to try to do something like that without knowing all the elements that I need to take in considerable, or the things that I need to design. So for this video, I decided I'm gonna do something else, something that originally that was I was supposed to do, but I'm gonna show you how to do it today, and this is what I'm gonna show you. I've seen many people trying to achieve this kind of design or this kind of ribs. I've seen people who are trying to build ships based on some sketches that they have, and it was completely mess because they have created the sketch for each frame, each rib, and they had so many errors. It was really difficult for them to control everything and to do also all the adjustments. The timeline was completely crazy. Look at the timeline here compared to how much I accomplished here. It's nothing. Performance is much better, and look at the sketches. That's all the sketches that I've used, and yeah, and look the result. It looks really nice. I really actually enjoyed building this one, and I'm sure that you are really excited to see how I did it as well. And yeah, so that's what we're gonna do today. But before I start, just a side note. First, I just want to apologize for the terminology. I'm not, again, coming from this area, so I don't know exactly the name of each part. So probably gonna use my own part, or maybe I'm gonna use names maybe a little bit wrong, so forgive me for that. And second, some of you also asked me in regards to I'm using a lot of the patch environment, and there are two reasons. One, it is because the loft command, it's much more forgiving in the patch environment than in the model environment here. Second, when dealing with large assemblies, with assemblies with many small parts, you can get into a situation where you have a lot of sketches, a lot of geometry, and you know that Fusion really don't like complex geometry and sketches. It starts really affect on the performance. So the best way to deal with this is actually using the patch environment, because over there you don't really need to create full and complex geometry. You just create some kind of a line, and then you can turn it into a face and then into a body. So we're cutting basically all the sketches almost to half with what we actually need. If it was something relatively small, so there is no problem, just use it in the modern environment, it will handle it. But something like that, you're gonna feel a difference in the performance. So that is why I'm using the patch environment quite often, especially when I'm doing complex modeling. Anyways, without further ado, let's start. Now, I want you to be really, pay attention to all the technique that I'm using. I'm going to use a lot of techniques and workflow also. So pay attention to all of this, because this is the most important. This is what you really need to take out of this video, okay? This tutorial. So yeah, so just relax and enjoy the video. Okay, so now we have a new file. I'm gonna start with a new component. I'm gonna rename it ribs, and now I'm not gonna rename everything, obviously, because then the video is gonna be extremely long. But do yourself a favor, rename everything that you can, because we're going to have many bodies and stuff like that, so it's going to be easy to find stuff. Next, yeah, we're going to start with the first sketch. Right here on the bottom, we're going to create just a simple line here. We're going to use the midpoint constraint here. This line is going to be my center line. And as you noticed also, I'm always working on the origin. Do yourself a favor and do that as well, okay? And when I see people not doing that, and for example, sketching a box right here to the right or to the left and not at the center, it drives me nuts. And that is because I'm using the origin also for dimensioning as a reference. And then it's also easy also when you need to mirror different parts, okay? So it's much easier to do all of this when you are on the origin. Good, so now we're moving on to create a second sketch here. And midpoint again. And I'm gonna give it the dimension 230 millimeters. Now, this one we turn into a constraint. I'm just hitting the X on the keyboard. And that's a shortcut. And now we can go in and start with the spline. Give it some kind of a shape here. Second thing I'm gonna do, I'm gonna mirror this sketch. Just move this one away. Okay, and now we can start to do some fine tuning to get the shape that I want. Let's see. Yeah, it looks fine. Now while I'm moving the handles, I'm using the control key on the keyboard because it's allowed me to do really nice fine tuning without any snapping. You see, now I'm not holding, you see, it's doing all this snapping and I don't like it. And if you want to do nice fine tuning, so this is what you should do. Now let's move this one a little bit more inward. Something like that. And just remove this one here. Yeah, I think it's okay for now. If it's not going to be okay later on, then I can just come back and, you know, change it. No problem. That's the whole point with this technique. It's very flexible. So let's work on the side profile here, on the profile. And now we need to project this point and project this point and click OK. We're going to create now a straight line here on this direction, something like that. Let's change to the front view. Okay, now let's take the spline tool again and put it somewhere here and over here on the top. Now, if you already have the dimension for everything, just use that, okay? I don't, because I'm doing it on the fly and I don't really have exact dimension. So, but if you do, so use it. Or maybe just in the beginning you want to do some practice, so that's okay as well. This one, it's going to have a little stomach. Now I'm holding again the key on the control or the command key. You can also, if you have a Mac, and give it like a nice stomach here. It's going to be a little bit wider in the front. Something like that. Now what I'm going to do now is I'm going to use the point here. And I'm gonna give myself, let's just say somewhere about here and here, 2 points. And I'm not using the spline point, which is, if you right click on the line here, you can see is insert spline fit point. I'm not gonna use this one because this point that I'm I added here, I don't need to change to affect the shape of this line. If I'm going to use the spline point, feed point, then the line is going to start to, you know, change, and I don't want that. As I always said, add points as you need. Okay, start with always with less. If you need extra one, then add another extra point. So let's see, we've got this and this high. If I want, I can add also an extra one here at the top. You know, let's add an extra one. Maybe I'm gonna need it. Let's put one here and one here, and that's gonna be for the support frames that we're gonna have around. Okay, so we are ready. We can finish this sketch. Let's see how it looks so far. It looks good, relatively proportional also. Now we're gonna work on the backside. So we're gonna go into the construction and planet angle. I already have a shortcut here. Gonna choose this line here and 90 degrees. And by the way, if you've used a spline to create this line, it's not gonna let you do this. You're gonna have to go under the axis. You're gonna have to create an axis first. You're gonna choose this one, and then you choose this point and this point, and then you're gonna create a line which you can put the planet angle on it. Okay, just so you know. And okay, so we're going to create a sketch in here, and then we need to first project this point, and this point here, this point, and we had another one. No, yes, where it disappeared, I think. Oh, it's because here it's basically in the center. So yeah, this is it, it's in the center, it's this one. So I'm gonna project this one as well, and just gonna change the view now. Now it's not exact, and but that's okay. Now we go to the spline here, click on this one, go over here, don't click, because I want to just get this line, because I want it to be vertically to this, somewhere about here. I'm gonna click, choose OK, and create a new one. Now we're going to the point again. We're going to create a new point here. Going to the vertical constraint here, and make sure this one is also vertically to this one. Okay, now I'm going to give it a little bit, let's zoom in. I'm going to give it a little bit stomach here. It's going to shape the ribs, and we're going to create a center line here, and I'm gonna mirror this sketch to the other side. Generally we don't have to, but I'm doing it anyway. It's not a big deal. And we are basically finished with this one. Good. Let's see how it looks. It looks really nice. So let's move on to the next. Now we need to create the axis, because we want to create a plane here for this one. And let's see, this one and this one, and we need another one maybe higher, but let's focus first of all on this one here. Pan and angle 90 degrees. This is more important than the other one. The other one is just small, nice to have, or maybe need to have, I don't know. Okay, let's create a sketch here. F6 to bring it forward, and now we need to project those point here, this one, and I'm gonna project this one here, another one here. I need this one. So we're going to the spline, One click here and somewhere about here, and finish it over here. Okay, now we can go back to the top view. We can start, shaping it, and let's see, move it a little bit inward. This one, maybe we can make it a little bit smoother. Yeah, as you can see here, it looks, I think it looks nice. I think it looks okay. And again, we can always change it later. This one I'm not gonna mirror to the other side, no need for that. And we finish it. Now let's look again on the side. I just wanted to make sure which one it was we created. And I'm just a little bit confused. Okay, this is basically telling me that this is the center, which is okay. This one, I don't know where it came from. Anyway, now we're gonna create a new axis through 2 points between this one and this one. Now we're gonna create a new planet angle. It's gonna be here, 90 degrees. And we're gonna sketch on this one. Again, F6 to bring it forward. And we're going to project the points here. This one I need to project, and it's gonna be this one. Good. So we go into the spline command. Again, somewhere about, I think this one's gonna be more in the middle maybe. And finish it here. Okay, let's go into the top view so we see what we are doing. And again, this is it's about creating the the shape in the middle somewhere. So maybe this one it's too much. The other one it's way down below. So this one should be somewhere here. It's okay. Now I need to fix this one. And I'm gonna move it somewhere like this. Let's just zoom in here, and I wanna change this line here. So maybe it's gonna be a little bit more in, and this one also maybe actually in this side. Not too much. Again, I can always change it. Let's see how it looks. So we've got this one here, and we got this one, and here we're gonna have like it's gonna be like syncing. And let's make sure that it's not gonna be synced too much. But it's when we're gonna use the when we're gonna create the skin, I'm not gonna use this one. Okay, this is just for the ribs, so you don't have to. But again, let's see what's gonna happen. You can always change stuff, And we're almost done. There's only last thing we need to do here, and it's this one here at the top. And again, axis to 2 points. This one here and this one. Planet angle, 90 degrees here, and we click OK. Go into the sketch, create sketch in here, and project this point and this point. You can actually hide this axis, and then we go into the spline. 1, 2, and 3. Good. Go into this view, the left view, and then I'm gonna go and make an horizontal constraint here, because if I'm going to play with it, I don't want it to move to the right or left, because then it's going to change the shape. I'm going to move it a little bit down. I don't want it too much up. I think it's okay, this one. And you have to make sure with all the points that you're creating that you have coincident constraint, because if not, the loft is going to complain. So the coincident constraint is very important. So we finished this one and we're basically done. Okay, now let's go and start working on the fun part. Now I'm already 20 minutes into the video. Maybe I'm gonna cut it in the middle and then I'm gonna do a second one. Okay, just continue to the second part. So the video is not gonna be like, I don't know, 1 hour or maybe more. Okay, so we're gonna divide it into two. Okay, going to the we change to the patch environment. We're going to the loft. We're going to choose this line and this line, and it's like one profile, and then we go in, click on the plus and choose the second profile. Don't worry about this one. Now we go into the rails. We choose the bottom rail and we choose the top rail. As you can see, it looks really nice. And if we want, you can choose this rail and see what happened. It doesn't look so good, but again, we can always, play with it. So let's turn them all back and let's move it a little bit over here. That was a little bit maybe too much. Let's see how it looks. Oh, too much. Again, let's hit the control. No, it doesn't work. It looks better. Again, we need to think about that this is going to be for the frames, not for the skin, for the frames. So the skin, we're going to use only this one here and this one and the one below. Okay, so you're not going to be like, whoa, what's going on here? And again, if we don't like it, we can always remove it later on. So let's play with it and see what's going to happen. Good. And so we have all of this in place. Now next we're going to need to do is, we have, as you can see, we have one body here. So we can go in and we need to mirror it, this body, to the other side. Now if the sketches confuse you, you can just turn them off. Okay, so now we have the second body here. Now we're going to stitch them together. And we're going to create now a new loft between this one plus this one, and use this one, the rail. Okay, now you're starting to understand why I did this. What is it for? And we click OK. Good. Now if you will try to thicken now this body, it may work, it may not gonna work. Sometimes it does, sometimes it doesn't. It is, yeah, kind of frustrating, but this is how Fusion right now, it's got its own limitation. It depends on the shapes and everything, and so that's why sometimes it's gonna work, sometimes it's not gonna work. But there is another way to do it, but let's try first, let's give it a chance and see how it's gonna work. Okay, so we go to the thicken and chain select, and we need it only one direction, and now let's choose select it from here. Let's wait a few seconds and see what's going to happen. Okay, it gives us an error, it doesn't like it. And let's see if I'm going to choose this one and this one, and now I want it 10 millimeters thickness. It didn't complain, but see the results here. I really don't like it. Even if I'm gonna put them all together later on, I'm gonna have this kind of weird surfaces here, and I don't like this result. So instead, what we're gonna do, we're gonna patch it, and then we're gonna stitch it. And look what's gonna happen here in the moment I'm gonna stitch all of it. Automatically turn into a solid, turn into a body. Okay, so now we just need to go into the model environment and choose shell. Okay, go to the shell, click here, and we choose 10 millimeters. It should work. Voila, and click OK, and see how it looks. Beautiful. It's exactly what I needed. Now this is the frames. Okay, this is for the ribs, and this point we're going to, either you can do it now or you can do it later. I say maybe you should wait for later, and what I mean later is continue finishing and cutting everything and then shaping the boat, and then you can do all the extra adjustment. We can go back in time and add things, because now, for example, I want to add, I think they call it a knee or something like that. I'm gonna add like a fillet here. Okay, I just say I want 15 millimeters. Okay, but now I don't need 15 millimeters all the way, so we can do chord length, and it should give me the option. Wait a second. It's not this one. This is constant radio chord length. Okay. I was looking for something else. You can, let's see if I'm gonna stop this one for a moment. Let's say I'm choosing only this one. See, this is constant radius. This is variable radius. Okay, so we can say, okay, here I want it 15, but here, because it's more narrow, and I know this piece here of the rib, it's much smaller, I don't need it 15. Maybe I'm gonna need it maybe 8. It's gonna be enough. Okay, so here it start with 15 in this part, and it's end up in 8. And if I want, I can add an extra point here in the middle. Okay, an extra thickness, or as many as I want. And then we can click OK. Now we can mirror this feature to the other side. So I'm changing to features. I'm clicking on the fillets here, down below in the timeline, and then choose plane and mirror it to over here. It should have worked. I don't know why it didn't. But again, this is, maybe we can try to fetch it to identical. No. Maybe optimize. Yeah, so optimize worked, but the other option didn't work. But now it gives us some kind of something weird. Yeah, the other option is basically, if we go back now, let's double click on this one. It's to choose faces. Sorry. So we can say, okay, I want this face on the other side, and it basically gave us the same results before. Okay, so play with it, and exactly the same also on the bottom part. So you can go in here again and choose not a constant, choose a variable. So in this part again, we can try again with 15, and here at the end we'll give it 8. As you can see here, it looks kind of weird over there. Not sure if it's really 8 or not, but let's go with it and see what's gonna happen. And or you can say, okay, I want a constant or something like that. But let's try it and see what's gonna happen. You can always change things, you know, go back in time and change stuff. Now what we're gonna need to do now is change to face. We're gonna mirror this face to the other side and click OK. Good. Now, as you know, we have also some supporting frames around, okay? So now it's gonna be a really good time to create those. And the way to do it, you have two options. You can either use, first of all, we're gonna create a new component, okay? And for this, we're gonna call it frames. You can either use the pipe and you can say, I want it around here. As you can see, make sure that it's a square. And then you can decide the thickness that you want. Maybe 15, and then we can just reduce it and work on the shape. Or we can create a sketch here and use the swipe command for that. How do we do this? We go in into the construction and plane along path, and we use this path. Now we drag it backwards and click OK. Now we're going to create, again, the frame component is active, yes. We're going to create a new sketch here. And good. Now we're going to project this line and this line here. Because I don't know exactly what kind of frame do you want to do, or the shape of the frame that you want and so on. But I guess it's supposed to be something that it's going to integrate really good with the shape here overall. So we can do something like this, for example. Then we can go into the line. We can go, for example, something like this. Go like this and all the way down here. Okay. So this is the profile that we're going to swipe and use to cut all around. So we click OK. Now we go into the swipe command, choose this one and select the path, and voila. Okay. See, it looks really, really nice. Nice, smooth and clean. Now we need to make a cut here. Okay. Now in order to do the cut, few things we need to do. First, we need to drag, we need to drag this face here. I'm just gonna click a few seconds, left click, in order to get to this menu. And this is the face that I need. And I want to drag it a little bit out. Okay. We can cut it afterwards, no problem. Second, we need to take this face upwards, and because if not, we're gonna have problems. So you can basically, hide this one, and just need to hide the ribs, not everything. This is weird. Okay, because I made a mistake. I should have created the component outside. Now it's like a subcomponent of the rib. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna hold it, drag it out. Sorry, onto this one. So now it's out, it's separate. Good. So now we can just, hide the ribs, and we can raise this one just like 0.5 millimeters this way, and maybe 0.5 also this way, because we want it to make sure that it's really outside the surface of the rib body. Now we can go back to the rib and we're going to cut it. And as you can see here, it's not, let's see how it's going to work. but it doesn't look like it's all the way out. Maybe just an illusion. Yeah, I think it's illusion. But anyway, let's go to the combine tool. We choose the body of the ribs, then it's on the operation, it's cut, and then keep tooling, yes, and we choose this one, and boom. But you can see it didn't work out as expected. Now if I'm gonna hide the frame, you can see here it didn't give us a nice result. So what we're gonna do is quite simple. Let's turn it back on. Now this was this cut here, okay? You see the offset that we did. Double click on it and we change it to 1 millimeter instead. If it's not good enough, then we change it to 2 millimeter. This should cover it, and voila. Okay, here you go. Now we can change it back. So we know overall we need to reduce this one in 2 millimeters. Okay, let's just go back to our frame. We need to activate this one first. So we're gonna change it back. It's gonna be -2 millimeters as far as I remember, or I don't know, -1. Or we can just click over here. Yeah, almost. And let's see, it was minus. I don't know why it's changing it a little bit differently. Let's see how much we've got here. It's 2, and then we should have actually be able to just reduce it. Sorry. Okay, this is weird. Yeah. Okay, so we need to put it on new offset, okay? Because what happened when it was an automatic, it basically took what we did before and added. So it was like -4. So this is a new offset that we are using, okay? So -2. And here at the top, it's gonna be, again, new offset, -0.5. So it's back the way it should. Now we can go to inspect and choose component color cycling toggle. So you can see contrast of the two parts. Now I'm not gonna focus on this side here, but again, you can just drag it out, and it's not, don't worry about it because we're gonna cut it at some point. Let's turn it back on. Okay, so now what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna stop the video and I'm gonna create and then you're gonna just play the second part, okay? Because we're already near the 40 minutes and it's way too long. So I'll see you on the second video.